All right, what is going on, guys? Here to talk about the final NBA regular season slate of the year 2020. I'm excited to talk about this 5-game slate. If you guys are new to the channel, how it works is we'll take a look at what we know so far. We can review the Vegas odds, then I'll kind of go team by team, talk about all the players, and then we'll get to questions at the end. So I just want to thank you guys again for all the support, and let's start off with what we know so far. So we just got news. John Wall, Eric Gordon, Boogie Cousins won't be on a minutes limit. We are still waiting for the starting lineup for Houston, which is pretty big news. You know, do they start Boogie and Wood together? That obviously would change some things. So got to keep an eye on that. Magic starters, Fultz, Fournier, Bacon, Gordon, and Vucevic. That's their same starting five. Alec Burks is ruled out. I think that means more minutes for those Knicks guards, but not really the best match. Going quickly out as well. Oh, we did get the Rocket starters. Never mind. I missed that. So Rockets will start Wall, Harden, House, Tucker, and Wood. So kind of did expect them to do that. I guess the question here is, will they run Wood and Boogie together, or does Boogie just strictly back up Christian Wood at the 5? I think there's a chance. We'll see. Does change some things. Like if Boogie and Wood are just playing strictly back, like if Boogie just strictly backs up Wood, it just kind of hurts both of their upsides. A lot of the stuff is for Friday, and that Bulls game is not on the main slate. Let's see, was there anything else? Again, the Wizards game was not on the main slate. Joel Embiid's available to play. Terrence Ross is ruled out. You know, not a huge deal, but I think maybe just a couple more minutes for some of those bench guys for Orlando. Makes them a little bit more viable on a slate that doesn't have a ton of value on it. And that's really what we got so far. So, let's see. Let's refresh this one more time. Make sure I'm fully up to date. We are. Okay. Cousins. Yeah, again, Cousins minutes are a little bit up in the air. We don't know exactly what the role is going to be because we just haven't seen them both play together. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. But let's go to NBA. Let's take a look at these Vegas odds, and we can go team by team here. So we have the 76ers and the Magic as a 220 over-under. The 76ers are 3.5-point favorites. Kings and Rockets, this one should be played at a very fast pace, 231.5 over-under. Rockets are 5.5-point favorites. Knicks and Raptors, this one has the biggest blowout risk. Raptors are currently 9.5-point favorites. It's the 217 over-under. If you guys have been playing NBA DFS the last 3 or 4 days, it has been just all blowouts and unexpected blowouts too. Like, I'm still not over that Hornets-Mavs game last night. If I just get a half-decent game from Hayward, a half-decent game from Luka, I would have a big night. But it's the way it's been going NBA DFS. Just the really surprise blowouts have been super, super tilting as far as injuries as well. But yeah, Pelicans Thunder, 215 over under. The Pelicans are 6-point favorites. In the late night game, Suns Jazz, 219.5 over under. The Jazz are currently 4-point favorites. All right, so let's start with Philly and Orlando. Real quick, guys, though, I'll ask if you enjoy this content to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let's aim for 100 likes on this live stream if we can get there. That would be greatly, greatly appreciated. All right, let's start with Philly. And at the top, Joel Embiid definitely in play here. He's in play every single slate. You know, minutes for him, he should be mid-30s minutes as long as he stays out of foul trouble and as long as his game stays close. Now, there is, maybe a little bit of risk of foul trouble going up against a guy like Vucevic, right? Orlando's offense kind of does run through Vooch. Both offenses run through the center. So that is the only risk I have, or that's the only risk with Embiid and Vooch playing. Slight worry is foul trouble risk. Kind of I talked about it on Patreon at least for the early slate with Sabonis versus Drummond. Foul trouble concerns. Well, you saw Drummond get some foul trouble. I'm always a little bit, concerned when I play, a good center against another good center, right? Because there's foul trouble concerns. So that is the only issue with Embiid. I think definitely in play at the top. I guess too, like the price, there's not a ton of value. So you probably, if you do play Embiid, you'd probably have to play some guys you really don't want to. And Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris are secondary plays for me. When Embiid is out, that's when I look to these guys. At their respective prices, I think they're fine. They'll be pretty low owned. It is a revenge game for Tobias Harris. So if you land on them, I don't think it's the worst play in the world, but not really prioritizing them. Guards for Philly, I think Seth Curry is probably the guy for me at a 5.4K. He's been playing about 30 minutes in those close games. It's been pretty solid. Sometimes is relying on the scoring, but I think he is a guy that's viable at that price. Below that, Shake Milton's kind of struggled recently. Dwight Howard is strictly just backing up Embiid. Not really enough minutes for me to consider him. with there being like very, very little value on the slate, you could throw Danny Green in there. But like I said, you know what you're getting out of Danny Green. He is just relying on the scoring. He can get you some blocks and steals, right? He had 2 blocks and 2 steals the last game. He's a guy that can get those peripheral stats, those blocks and steals. But other than that, he's got to hit his threes. So yeah, he's playable just because there's like no real value on this slate. Let's move on to Orlando. So Orlando, Vucevic, same thing I'll say about Embiid. Offense runs through him. He did play 34 minutes the last game, which is good to see, right? Minutes went up for him. I expect him to play about 35 minutes in close games. And he's a guy that definitely has 50 fantasy point upside. It's just my only concern is some foul trouble risk, again, going up against a guy like Joel Embiid. So it's a risk-reward factor. Are you willing to risk it? But do like the upside if he can stay out of foul trouble. I think Markelle Fultz is a nice play in the mid-range at 6.3K. He's been pretty consistent, playing about 30 minutes, getting about 30 to 35 fantasy points. It is a revenge game narrative if you guys are into that. So perfectly fine play if you land on him. Aaron Gordon's a guy that, they're still kind of limiting his minutes. Expected to play about 28 to 29. That was against Oklahoma City. He only played 22 minutes. So, it's tough. If he was not on a minutes limit, I would actually like him a good amount here. But I think he's just more of a GPP play. Even with Terrence Ross out, again, you guys know, I do not play Evan Fournier, ever. Do not play him. Terrence Ross is out, so I think that does open up a little bit of value here. Like Cole Anthony, MCW, even a guy like Dwayne Bacon probably plays a few extra minutes. Now, Bacon also, kind of reliant on the scoring in the last game. 8 rebounds, more of an outlier for him. You can throw him in the player pool just because there's no real standout value on the slate. But yeah, Anthony, MCW, these guys are playing about 20-ish minutes a game. I think maybe that goes up to like 25. And with there being so little value, I think these guys actually are decent value plays at their respective prices. But that's it for the first game. So let's see. Let's move on to Sacramento and Houston. So this game is the highest over-under of the slate. Should be played pretty fast-paced. De'Aaron Fox at below 8K. I think firmly in play. He should play about mid-30s, mid to high 30s in minutes. He's a guy that has had 40 fantasy points in 3 of the first 4 games. He's priced below 8K. He does have the floor of the assists most of the time. So I do have interest in De'Aaron Fox at the top there. I think that's a pretty decent price on him. Buddy Hield at 6'8", has not been shooting the ball the best, and it's kind of hurt his upside recently. 21, 26, and 27 fantasy points the last 3 games. Now, I think recency bias will lower the ownership. He's still getting the minutes, right? The minutes are still there for him. He's just not hitting a shot. So I actually think Buddy Hield is an interesting GPP play because people are going to box score watch. They're going to see, mid-20s fantasy points the last 3 games, and they'll avoid him. But again, this game is going to be played super, super fast. And Buddy Hield is still a good shooter. If he gets it going, we've seen some big games from Buddy Hield. Kind of like him as a contrarian play tonight. Don't think a lot of people will be on him after, again, recency bias. And I don't get what's going on here. I'm speechless with Harrison Barnes. I don't know what he's doing. He's literally, like, this stat, 13.6 rebounds, 8 assists for Harrison Barnes. I honestly don't know what has gotten into him. But minutes are still there for him. Again, good matchup. I'm not going to talk you off if you play Harrison Barnes. He has been playing really solid. I don't expect him to continue to have, almost average a triple-double like he did last game. He is reliant on the scoring. Again, kind of stand in the corner, shoot threes guys. So I don't know what's going on here. He's getting a lot of rebounds. He's getting some assists. Is this like a new Harrison Barnes I don't know of? I don't know. So, yeah, I'm not going to talk you off him. The price is fair, and he's playing the minutes, so I think he's a fine play. And Bagley and Holmes I like as well at 5'3" and 5'2" respectively. Bagley's going to play about mid-20s minutes. Again, this Houston team is a little bigger now with Boogie and a guy like Christian Wood. So Bagley, I think, is definitely in play at his price. I do like Holmes, too, at 5'2". The reason being is he played 32 minutes the last game. Did not go to overtime. So if he's going to play minutes in the high 20s to low 30s, that just raises the upside of Holmes. Now, there is some worry, right? He's a guy that is in foul trouble a good amount. He fouled out that first game. He's had 4 fouls previous games. So, and he's going to be going up against, a higher usage guy like Wood and Boogie Cousins. So I'm a little bit worried about foul trouble concerns here for Richaun Holmes. But as long as he stays out of foul trouble, I think we probably get, 25 plus minutes. I think definitely in play at his price. So yeah, Holmes, Bagley, certainly in play. I do have interest in Halliburton too. The Kings are a team I do like today. 30, 26, 27, and 25 minutes. He's like a pretty big part of this offense, and he's playing mid to high 20s minutes. So I think he actually is in play. Shooting guard is not super strong in this slate, so I think Halliburton definitely viable. The value on the slate, like Bielitsa, I don't know if we have to do it. He did play 21 minutes at last game, but it's kind of a stretch. Again, he is relying on the scoring, not auto play. Corey Joseph, too. Again, do we need to go there? He'll play about 20 minutes, has a somewhat low floor. Last guy I'll mention is Whiteside, just because we have Wood and Boogie Cousins on the opposite side. So there's definitely a chance Holmes or Bagley get in some foul trouble. If they both do, then Whiteside's going to benefit. And he is a really, really good point per minute guy. So I think you can make the argument to take a shot on Whiteside and hope one of those guys above him get in some foul trouble. All right, let's move on to Houston. So Houston, this is the key to getting the slate right, to be honest. Really, we don't know what the minutes are going to be like for these Rockets guys, at least the new guys. Let me refresh this, see if we got any more news. But yeah, they said no minutes limit for all those guys that are there or back with Wall, Gordon, and Boogie Cousins. So Harden 11K. If you can get to him, I have absolutely no issue. Again, a really high over-under. He has a ton of upside. Not as good of a play as he was in previous slates because we have Wall, because we have Eric Gordon, because we have Boogie Cousins back. But if you can get to Harden, I have no issue. It's just, what do you have to sacrifice to get him in there, right? So not a ton of value, but if you can get to Harden, again, he's a great play basically every single slate. Now, Christian Wood at 7-3 and Boogie Cousins. This is where I'm having a hard time because I don't know. We haven't seen it yet in the preseason, them play together. Like, will Boogie just strictly back up Wood, or will they play alongside each other at all? I don't know. If Boogie only strictly backs up Wood, I really think it affects both their upsides, because I would say we probably get like 30 minutes of Wood and like 18 of Boogie. So, right, it's a little bit uneasy feeling here. I do like the matchup a lot. I'm not fully convinced that they're both going to get a lot of runs. So that is the concern with the Houston front court. I think if you can guess right here, you can definitely cash in. But again, it's just we haven't seen it yet, so we don't know what they're going to do. And then again, Boogie Cousins at 5K, coming off the bench. How many minutes does he get? If I knew Boogie Cousins was going to play 20 minutes tonight, I think he'd be one of the best plays in the slate. But I'm not fully convinced about that. So again, this is the key, getting it right. I don't know what Houston's going to do with the front court with Wood and with Boogie Cousins. Now, John Wall at 7-1, I think is a really solid play here. No minutes limit. I expect at least 30 minutes in a close game. I would say 30 to 35. And in the preseason, I think he played 1 or 2 games alongside Harden and was still really productive. So I do like the price a good amount on John Wall. I think he gets 30 to 35 minutes. Eric Gordon, more of a secondary play. He's someone I look to when either, one of those guards are out. So yeah, Eric Gordon, I'm not talking you off from, but not really a priority for me at that price. And then a guy like PJ Tucker, I'm not going to get to when they're, more healthy. The value here is out of play when, again, they have those 3 guys back for Houston. So let's move on to New York and Toronto. New York. So what we got news of is no Alec Burks, no Emmanuel Quickley, no Frank Ntilikina, no Obi Toppin. They are very, very thin at the guard position. Austin Rivers is going to play, but they said I think he's going to be on a minutes limit, so we shouldn't expect to see significant minutes from Austin Rivers. So I think that means big minutes for these starters. Randall played 44 minutes at last game. Now this matchup against Toronto is not the best, but the offense is running through Julius Randle, and even at 9K, I think he's viable. I just wish he was in a better matchup. So minutes should be probably about 40 for Randle if this game stays competitive. There is bullet risk here. There is. So there is risk in targeting this game on both sides. If you want to play one of those Toronto guards, again, you are someone that's been burned by blowouts the last 3 slates, I would be a little worried because it's a 9.5 point spread. The Knicks are not a great team. So just proceed with caution here because I think this is the game that has the best chance to blow out. But again, Randall should play over 40 minutes if the game does stay competitive. I think he's a good GPP play. RJ Barrett's fine too. If I'm going to play one of those top guys in the Knicks, though, I think I'd rather just get to Randall. Like his upside more. RJ Barrett, does have a somewhat low floor, but minutes should be, close to 40 for him. Now, Alfred Payton at 5'9", with Austin Rivers at least playing, I think that, it worries me a little bit with Alfred Payton because I think Rivers will kind of back up Alf. And does that lower the minutes? I think it might a little bit. So he played 36 minutes at last game. Maybe he only gets like 30 this game. I still think he's a fine play. I like playing Alfred Payton in DFS because he's a guy that can stuff the stat sheet, but definitely not a must play in this matchup. I think he is a decent play though in the mid range. Mitchell Robinson at 5'6", minutes have been solid for him. He's been doing a good job staying out of foul trouble, but I never feel good about him because of his foul trouble issues. So you can take a shot on him in GPPs, but not overly excited about that. Reggie Bullock at 4.6, so played 17 minutes 2 games ago, and then came out and played 41 minutes. They are really thin, so I don't think we get 41 again from Bullock, but we probably get over 30 at least, I would say, if this game stays competitive. He's not a high-usage guy, reliant on scoring as well, so definitely not a must-play, but there's not a ton of great value. I think minutes should be either for him, not a bad play. Rivers, with him being kind of limited, I'm probably not going to do it. Kevin Knox will probably get 15 to 20 minutes off the bench. Don't know if we have to go there either. I do want to mention Nerlens Noel at 3.3. The reason being is he is a good point per minute guy. It's just a matter of, does he get minutes? Well, the way he gets minutes is Mitchell Robinson foul trouble. If Mitchell Robinson gets in foul trouble, I think Nerlens Noel could smash this price. So I kind of like him as a GPP play. Again, same thing as Whiteside, though. You need the foul trouble. So these guys are viable, not cash plays, but you need foul trouble here from Mitchell Robinson for Noel. If he does get some foul trouble, Noel plays like over 20 minutes, again, he could smash that price at 3.3K. Or even if the game blows out, I think Noel probably does get some run. Now on the Toronto side, so Siakam, Lowry, Van Fleet, all three firmly in play. Great matchup here. All three play big minutes. It's just, again, proceed with a little bit of caution here. Know the risk. 9.5 point spread. Knicks are not a good team. This game has a chance to blow out. So I like the upside. If I knew this game was going to stay close 100%, I would probably try to get one of these Raptors guys in my lineup. But again, I've been burned by so many blowouts the last 3 or 4 nights that I personally am proceeding with a little bit of caution here. But like I said, if I knew this game was, say, competitive, I would probably try to get at least one of these top Toronto guys in here because of the good matchup. All three should play 35 plus if the game stays close. So Siakam, Lowry, Van Fleet, all three firmly in play at their respective prices. OG Anunoby's at 5.8. He's been playing big minutes as well, and I think he's an okay value. He did have 44 that last game. We probably can't expect that again, but yeah, definitely in play in the mid-range because of the minutes. Now, Chris Boucher is an interesting GPP play. The minutes have been all over the place for him. 15, 28, and 5. But look what happened when he got extended. In 28 minutes, 53 fantasy points for Chris Boucher. 7 blocks. He is a guy I love playing for DFS because he's just such a high usage guy when he gets the minutes. It's just a matter of, does he get the minutes? This is a game he definitely, I think he gets extended a bit more, but by how much is the question, right? So another one, it's just, I don't know what the minutes going to be for Chris Boucher. I think he probably plays at least 15 minutes. And if things go right and Boucher gets over 25, I think he could crush this salary. It's just, again, does he get the minutes? So another one that it's kind of a guessing game. If I knew Chris Boucher was going to play over 25 minutes tonight, I would lock him in. Just like Boogie Cousins over 20, I would lock him in. We just don't know what the minutes are going to be based off the 3 previous games for Chris Boucher. So tough one there. Baines for value, I think, is fine. Probably plays somewhere between 20 to 30 minutes. Not a smash play, but I don't think he's going to absolutely kill you. The bench guys for Toronto, not for me, are the other bench guys just because they run such a thin rotation. Guys, we are at about 350 concurrent viewers, almost 53 likes. Can we get to 100 by the end of the show? That would be greatly appreciated. All right, New Orleans, OKC. So New Orleans side, I like Ingram and Zion at the top. Both are playing big minutes in competitive games. Both should play 35 plus as long as this game stays close. This one should stay close, so I like them both at the top. With Lonzo and Bledsoe, these guys should play about 30-ish minutes. Bledsoe's been terrible recently, but it's an interesting buy low opportunity. Again, shooting guard is pretty weak. Lonzo, again, should play about 30 minutes, does have some upside, has had a somewhat low floor, though. So both those guys in play at their respective prices. Steven Adams is always the perfect cash game play. He'll play about 30 minutes in competitive games, probably get somewhere around 25 to 35 fantasy points. So I think he's a really safe play as long as that game stays competitive. Couple bench guys I want to mention. Josh Hart should play 25 to 30 minutes. I think he's in play for value. Again, he's been rebounding the ball decently. So yeah, he's in play. I also have interest in JJ Redick. There's not a ton of value on the slate. He's been shooting the ball terribly. 1 of 7, 1 of 8, 1 of 5. He's not going to continue to shoot that bad. If he gets hot, JJ has upside of 30. And again, with there being so little value on the slate, I think you can take a shot here. But same thing I'll say, right? Know the risk. The floor is really low on JJ. Not a cash game play. And that's really it. Again, NAW smash, but that was in a blowout. I don't know if he's going to get a ton of run in the regular rotation. OKC. So SGA, I do like a good amount here at the top at 8-1. There's a lot of solid guard plays in this like 8K range, 7 to 8K range. SGA is one of them. Good matchup. Should play 35 plus minutes. He's just leading this offense, and he's stuffing the stat sheet. 7 boards, 9 assists. 3 boards, 7 assists. 7 boards, 7 assists. He's scoring the ball. I do like him a good amount at the top. I think he's one of the better plays. I also have interest in Horford and Bazley. Horford should play about 30 minutes. Would have been nice if he was playing about 35, but I still think he's in play at this price. Hasn't really been great to start, but I still think Horford does have some upside here, even in 30 minutes. And then Bazley, too. I'm a pretty big Darius Bazley fan. I think we get over 30 minutes in a close game. In the last game, he shot the ball terribly, but he does have some upside. Below 6K, I think firmly in play. Lou Dort at 5-1, that feels about right. He's still viable, but not my favorite play. I have mentioned George Hill at 4-7. The issue here is the minutes, right? 24 and 25. So not playing a ton of minutes, but he's been pretty productive, over 30 fantasy points in both those games. You can look to Diallo off the bench, but we'll probably only get about 20 minutes. Again, you can look to Muscala off the bench, probably gets 15 to 20 minutes. There's not a ton of value, so you can consider him. Last game here, Phoenix, Utah. So on the Phoenix side, there's not a ton I like here. Booker, overpriced. Chris Paul and Ayton are fine plays at their respective prices, but not priorities for me. The wings with like Bridges, Crowder, Cam Johnson, Sarge, they just have too many wings now for me to get like excited about any of them. You can try to take a shot on one of them, but I don't have a super strong take there. And the value is just not really here for me for Phoenix. So that's really it. I don't have a ton of interest on the Phoenix side. On the Utah side, a little more interest. Mitchell's at 7-6. It's a good matchup, but not a priority for me. Does have some upside. I think my favorite play is probably Rudy Gobert, just because he should play mid-30s minutes in a good spot. I think certainly viable at that price point. Conley had a big game last game, but we can't expect 50 fantasy points from him again. I think normally we get about 30-ish minutes from Conley, probably about 30 fantasy points. I think he's a fine play, but not a priority for me. Bojan, again, you know what you're getting into. Scoring dependent, but the minutes are there for him. If his shot is falling, he has upside for 30 plus. I think a fine play, but again, a little risky. Don't mind Clarkson off the bench at 4-8. Should play mid-20s minutes. Also a guy that, sometimes rely on the scoring, so there's a little bit of risk involved, but I think he's viable. And last guy I'll mention is Royce O'Neal. There's just not a lot of value. He's played 34 minutes in back-to-back games. He has a really low floor, so you're never going to feel good about playing Royce O'Neal, but as long as he gets over 30 minutes, I don't think he will absolutely kill you. And it's a good matchup. Again, I think he's a fine value play because there's not a ton of standout value on the slate. But that's it, guys. So let's get some questions here. Oh, real quick, $2 super chat from Cesar Gales. Thank you, man. Is Bullock a good choice? So I think Bullock is a fine play at 4-6. Minutes should be there for him. I don't think we get 41 again, but I would say 30 to 35, I think is a fair guess. And with those type of minutes, it does make him viable. I don't think he's a must play. Like, he's not like my favorite play in that range, but I think he is someone, if you land on, is decent because of the minutes. Now, again, sometimes rely on the scoring, but minutes are key. I think he does get probably at least 30. So yes, he's a fine play at his respective price. Utah just spreads it out. Yeah, that's a tough part with Utah. I don't like playing any Utah guys really because they're just a pretty balanced team, right? It's hard to kind of nail down who's it going to be. Yeah, I think it's probably Clarkson and Gobert for me if I had to pick. Royce is Royce is just right. It's not a play I love, but if you need someone super, super cheap, minutes should be there for him. Bagley or Holmes or GPP, so that's a tough one, right? Because both have some foul trouble risk going up against that Houston front court. I think I'll go Holmes, assuming he gets the minutes, but there is some foul trouble risk there. Barnes or Boucher? Well, for safety, it's definitely Harrison Barnes. Minutes are there for him. Boucher, the minutes are all over the place. So, again, we have no idea what the minutes are going to be. You can take a shot on Boucher. Again, if I knew he's going to play like over 25 minutes, I would lock him in, but we just don't know what the minutes are going to be for him. So there's risk involved. Barnes definitely safer. Yeah, Ingram versus Zion, it's always a tough one for me. It's always really tough. I think go with your gut. I mean, usually I would say Ingram has a little bit more upside if he's getting it going. Zion, a little bit of a higher floor. But I do like both tonight. Anunoby or Bazley, that's close. Anunoby probably plays a few more minutes. I'll go Bazley there, though. Pick your favorite two, Horford, Adams, Bagley, or Robinson. So I would say I'll go Horford and Adams there. 4,400 shooting guard for cash. I don't really like this for cash, but Ugh. Probably Cole Anthony, just because I think he plays a few extra minutes. Don't love it, though. Not in love with that play, but that's probably who I would go with. Dort or Bullock? That's close. Dort will probably be a little bit more productive. Bullock, minutes probably a little higher. I'll go Dort, but that's not a super strong take. What up, DK? Should I take Javon Carter or risk some with Damian Jones tonight? JK. Peyton and Zion or Wall and Baisley? That's a good question. I do like both options. I'll go Wall and Baisley. 3 Knicks too much? Probably. Yeah. I think that might be a little much. Do you like Bacon for value? So with no Terrence Ross, he might get a few extra minutes. It's just the floor is so low with him. So I'm not in love with the play, but he is 3.3K. So yes, he's in play. Bullock or Hart for cash? That's a tough one because Hart's going to be more productive. Bullock should play more minutes. I guess Bullock because of the minutes, but he does have a pretty low floor. And there's still no guarantee that he gets a ton of minutes if the game blows out. It's not a good feeling. And they have Kevin Knox too, so he only played 17 minutes the previous game, so it's they're all over the place. It's not a great feeling, but if he gets 35 plus minutes, I think he probably is not going to kill you. Favorite center play besides Embiid? It depends on the price range and your level of risk, because I like Vucevic obviously at the top. Zion I like a good amount below 8K. Rudy Gobert looks good, and then you have the mid-range guys like Horford, like Adams. If you want to take a shot on Boogie Cousins, Ingles 4,300 is fine. He's kind of like the same territory as Royce O'Neal. So just went over Bacon. What do you think about Eric Gordon? Secondary play for me. Ingles or O'Neal, last spot for cash. Let's see. I mean, Ingles won't play as many minutes, but he is a better shooter. I think I'll go O'Neal, and the reason being is the minutes, right? We want to go for the guys that have higher floor. I think Ingles has more upside if he's shooting well, but I think Royce probably has a little bit of a higher floor. Again, I'm not really excited about either. Kem Birch, I'm asking just because I'm in trouble. Where is Kem Birch? He's at 3-1. I don't think he's playing the... Oh, he is. I mean, he'll play probably about 15 minutes. There's not a lot of value, so I actually don't think it's the worst idea to just punt with Birch, right? It's kind of like punting with Noel or punting with Whiteside. They're not going to play a ton of minutes, but yeah, you can do it. Do you trust any Rockets in cash? Yeah, I think John Wall is the guy I trust the most in cash. The centers are just a little risky because of the minutes. Ingram or Zion GPP? Again, I think it's Ingram, but that's really close for me. Are you playing lighter today? I'll probably play a normal amount. Thoughts on Halliburton? I like him for value, playing good minutes. DK, thoughts on MCW? With there being little value in the slate, I actually think he's in play. Probably plays over 20 minutes. He's the guy that stuffs the stat sheet, so MCW, Cole Anthony, firmly in play, especially with no Terrence Ross. 3,900 and below utility. Let's see. I mean, for cash games, it's probably Royce O'Neal, just because of the minutes. He does have a low floor. For GPPs, again, JJ has upside if he's hitting his shots, or like MCW, I don't think is the worst play, or again, Whiteside, and you hope for some foul trouble. So there's some options. Depends on your risk tolerance. Lonzo, I think Lonzo's a fine option. Probably plays about 30 minutes. Him and Bledsoe are similar plays. MCW or Redick, again, so I think MCW is probably your cash play. Redick's probably your GPP play. Ingram or SGA, man, that's close. Like Ingram versus Zion versus SGA is I love all three. I don't have a strong take there. I don't. I think go with your gut. Clarkson versus George Hill, also pretty close. Both should play mid-20s minutes. I'll go Hill, but that is close. Reports say, I think MCW will probably play a little more. I'm feeling Ingram. I think, again, Ingram versus Zion is really close, guys. Versus SGA. All three are almost identical plays, in my opinion. Barrett or Barnes? I already have Bullock and Randall. I think if you can get to Barrett because of the minutes, but I don't really want to play 3 Knicks. Let's see. Not Crowder, DJ. Let's see. Dort for cash, a little pricey. I think he's fine, but not a priority for me. Fultz or Peyton? I'll go Markelle Fultz. Horford or Aaron Gordon? Horford, because they've been limiting Aaron Gordon's minutes. Does normal minutes for Cousins mean 15 to 20 or 20 to 20? Yeah, I don't know. I think Boogie plays somewhere between 15 to 25 minutes. Somewhere in that range. If he gets 15, there's probably a decent chance he doesn't get us there. If he pushes for over 20, I think there's a good chance he could have a really good game. Bagley, Barnes are hard for cash, need a forward. I guess it's Harrison Barnes right now, just because of the minutes for him. He's been playing really solid, so yeah. Is Randall going to be chalky? I don't know. At almost 9K against the Raptors, probably not super chalky. Bagley, good for cash. I think he's a fine play. I don't think he's going to kill you. He'll play mid-20s minutes. George Hill, fine. Again, minutes are a little bit of worry there. Thoughts on Boucher blowout play? I do, yeah. So if you think the game blows out, I think you're going to want a good amount of Chris Boucher. I think if that game does blow out, he should get a good amount of run, and then he has a ton of upside. It's just 5'2" is again, not like a great value. Bagley or Baisley for cash. I'll go Baisley. Halliburton definitely in play for value. Okay. Lincoln Smith with a $5 super chat. Thank you, man. Is Harden a must play in GPP? No. And the reason being is there's not really standout value plays in the slate. So, like, you can get him in, but you're going to have to play some guys you don't really want to at the bottom. So, definitely not a must play. Good question, though. Gordon projected 30 minutes, but we'll see. We don't know, right? Because they said 28 to 29 for Aaron Gordon the last game, and he only played 22. So, yeah. Any love for Lonzo? I think he's a decent play. Does have some upside, but a little up and down. Holmes and Boucher, so I think Holmes is safer just because Boucher's minutes are all over the place. Looking forward to your recap slate. You know there's probably going to be a blowout or some tilting thing. You know it. You know it's going to happen. I already know. The last 4 days, it's been losing the main slate, tilt because of blowouts or injuries, win it back in the in-game showdown slate. I've basically been breaking even because of that. Lou Dort, again, fine play, not a priority. Ingram or Siakam's Ingram. Barnes or Barrett, yeah, again, probably Barrett, but I don't really want to play 3 Knicks. Embiid, I think, goes a little bit lower owned. He has like 60 to 70 fantasy point upside any single time he takes the court. So, a couple more questions, guys, then I'm going to get out of here. I do appreciate you guys coming in on New Year's Eve and checking out the stream. So thank you guys again. Seriously, best shooting guard 5,100 or less. Let's see. So 5,100 or less. It's close with Dort and Halliburton for me. It's really close. Dort will play more minutes. I do kind of like Halliburton. I'm going to go Halliburton. But that's really close. Utility under 6K. Let's see. Utility under 6K. So for cash games, it's Steven Adams. Steven Adams for cash games. For GPPs, I would say Alfred Payton or Baisley. You can go Baisley in cash too, but the reason Alfred Payton's in play is because the Knicks are still thin, so he should play good minutes. But yeah, if you're going for the safety, it's Steven Adams. I think he has a pretty high floor. Bacon or MCW? It's MCW for me. Is winner take all considered GPP or cash? That is GPP. Wood or Cousins? I just don't know what the minute's going to be. So I probably would rather take the shot in Boogie and hope the minutes are there. But I think both are in play. That's the big question mark in the slate. We just don't know what the rotation's going to be. Noel and Halliburton for value, I think that's fine. Again, Noel is a sneaky GPP play for the reason of if Mitchell Robinson gets into foul trouble, and he's historically in foul trouble a lot, Noel should benefit. He's 3-3, a good point per minute guy. Thanks, man. The tilt is always good. The Phil helped me with the DFS tilt, right? Thanks for answering, of course. Happy New Year's, Zeke. Happy New Year's to you, too. One more super chat from Caesar. Thank you, man. Dort, Halliburton, Holmes, or Cousins at 5K range. So, I think for cash games, I go Holmes there. There is some foul trouble risk, but he played 32 minutes the last game. So, Holmes for cash. I do like Boogie for GPPs. It's just, what are the minutes there, right? We have no idea what the minutes can be for Boogie Cousins. So maybe take the shot in Boogie for playing GPPs. But I think Holmes for cash. So that's what I would do. Thoughts on Wall, Halliburton? Oh, one more super chat from Lil Liber D-Ball. Thank you, man. I do appreciate it. Barnes at forward and cash, or go O'Neal and play it up. I actually think Harrison Barnes is a fine play in cash. I don't think he continues to be like this productive, but he's playing good minutes. He's rebounding the ball a lot better. I think he's a good cash game play. We'll see. We'll see if we get the old Harrison Barnes, but he's cheap. Minutes should be their good matchup. What about House? He wasn't playing a ton with all those guys out. So with Eric Gordon back too, I'm not as high on House. Is Conley in play? Yeah. Wouldn't expect 50 plus though again. My birthday's tomorrow, DK. Good vibes, man. Oh, hey, happy birthday, man. Hope you have a good day. Bagley or Crowder? I'll go Bagley there. But all right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. So thanks again. Thanks for closing out your 2020 with me. As always, video for tomorrow's slate will be up later tonight. You know there's going to be some tilting involved somehow. Some blowout, some injury, something like that, foul trouble. You know it's going to happen. Thoughts on Wall, Halliburton, MCW, Barnes, Cousins, Fox, Ingram, SGA, and GPP. I like that. Clarkson or Hill? I'll go Hill, but that's close. Both are similar plays. Thanks again, guys. Have a great night. Stay safe, and I will see you guys all tomorrow.